Hey guys, this is Vanity, Ezel, Biocarver, Vanguard, Ezel, the Vanity, because of the videos, if you guys enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and story. This time we're covering more reviews from DZ Set 6. I forgot if tomorrow, aka the day this is going up, is if we're gonna get the new Stoicheia line or not. I think it might be Thursday. I honestly don't know. I have not paid much attention. But let's get this started, shall we? And see what we got. First today we have Stealth Fiend Hero Chochin, Great on Boost, 5k shield, 5k base, auto placed on rear guard circle by soul blasting 3, choose an opponent's rear guard, kill it, and then if you do not kill a card, this unit gets 10,000 power for the turn. So downsides, this thing costs 3 soul to make itself a 15k booster if the opponent doesn't lose a rear guard. Upside, it kills a rear guard. I personally don't like this card because there are plenty of units that kill opponents' rear guards without needing to drop 3 soul on this, but if you really want to run it, that's on you, but personally I don't like it, so possibly a 2 at best. Add Texas to Cabling Assault, Great to SF 5k shield, 10k base, auto from a rear guard circle once per turn. When your other rear guard on the same column has attack slow, plus 1 in both it and that unit get plus 5,000 power for the turn. So, good? I don't know why it says from a rear guard circle though, because it has to be another unit in the same column. To my knowledge, actually, okay, well, to be fair, this works with Magnolia. I was about to say this doesn't work with like any of the decks that theming-wise would fit this, aka Maelstrom and what's the other deck called? Flagberg. But I mean, to be fair, A, it works in Premium, B, it does work with Magnolia, and C, that could also be a mistranslation where it doesn't say from a rear guard circle, though 9 times out of 10 sure it does say from a rear guard circle. So it's a solid like 2 or 3 of them. I mean, it does eat soul and it's only a hard once per turn, but hey, he gives himself 5k and the unit that's swinging 5k, so you know, you don't really have to worry about boosting too much. And then we have the Morphonica cards. Yeah, so we're just going to speedrun this because we all know I don't give a crap about the collab stuff, so let's go. First up, we have Kumo Merry-Go-Round. Okay, I gotta admit, that's a very fun name to say, and I say that name like 5 times after seeing it. Bang Dream, Morphonica, Normal Order Music, auto input on rear guard circle, search your deck or drop zone for 1 card of Forte in its card name, call it to rear guard circle. If Vanguard is incomplete, Metamorphosis, Mashiro Kurata, search your deck or drop zone for 1 Dissonance of the imaginary word Forte, Mashiro Kurata, and write a stand. If you search your deck, you shuffle it. So free superior ride of it, I can only assume it's a grade 3, so cool. And then auto rear guard when Dissonance of the imaginary world Forte, Mashiro Kurata, or your Vanguard attacks, on your Vanguard, not or your Vanguard attacks, put a card with Mashiro Kurata in his card name from your hand into your soul, and that unit gets triple drive for the turn. So gives your Vanguard triple drive and also gets you a free soul at the same time, not to mention the fact that it also searches your deck for a superior ride, I believe, which is honestly pretty cool, that also procs when placed on rear guard circle. So God forbid they ever found a way for Morphonica to play these cards during the battle phase. If they already do that, then please correct me, because I actually have not looked at a single Morphonica card since the last time that they were reviewed, but and they don't currently have a way to do that. Cool, superior ride targets. So 3 of 4, I guess. I mean, it's a free superior ride, and then also triple drive of Valor over here, presumably. So yeah, there you go. Then we have Dissonance of the Imaginary World Forte Mashiro, grade 3 to 9% at 13k base. Continuous Vanguard Circle. If your soul has exactly 1 copy of Incomplete Metamorphosis Mashiro Kurata, this unit gets all the abilities of that unit's auto abilities and all of its act abilities, and the cost of that unit's act abilities can also be paid with put a trigger from your hand to soul. So whatever this unit does, and I'm not going to go look it up to find out what she does, is basically automatically pay with a simple send a hand card to soul if it's a trigger for the act ability, and whatever the auto ability is that you actually have to pay for the cost for. But pretty cool that essentially makes one of the abilities free, followed by auto Vanguard at the start of your battle phase if all your units had Forte in their card names, different card names from each other, and there's a merry-go-round on your rear guard circle at the end of your turn. All your units can attack from back row, and your opponent's Vanguards are grade 3 or greater until end of the turn. All units get 5,000 power, and your Persona ride increases the power of your back row units as well. So let me get this straight. This ability, in my true personal opinion, should have just straight up been what they give Graham Grace. Because this gives your Persona right to back row, which was also what Graham Grace used to do, but on top of it, it gives them more power. And the thing I love about this card too is that it says Forte in their different card names. To my understanding, just based off of this one card alone, Forte was not in the original naming theme, which again, I haven't looked at the Morphonica cards in a while, but my immediate theory is that all of these cards right here have an original form that did not have Forte in the name, and they got upgraded to have Forte in the name, which in my opinion is really cool, because when Bushy upgrades units, if they upgrade more than just the Vanguard, it's a really cool theme in my opinion. opinion. Like, when originally at the end of G, when they did GZ with the Zeroff Dragons and stuff, they upgraded the original Smoke Gear and Mazer Gear, quote unquote, into Mary Block Dragon and Metal Pirate, respectively. Granted, we can call BS on those two, but the cards we can't call BS on are, and I quote, the Budding Maiden Diane, who turned into the Diane that had Bloom, followed by Blossoming Maiden Kella, who turned into the Kella that can get 5k and a crit, I believe, or some BS Bloom number, and resist, by the way, for both of them. Followed by that, all I have my favorite in the form of the Libero Vanilla Absolute Blade Knight, and Fate Crescent Knight Phalanx turned into Lunar Fang Crescent Knight Phalanx, who had the ability to give all your Brave units plus 2k and resist, and also gave himself 1k as long as the Vanguard also had Brave and also gave him resist. And then Blade Knight Libero, I think his name was something like that, who allowed you to call another Brave card from deck. If you're wondering how I remember those skills almost verbatim, is because A, I did actually play those decks recently, but also B, those are my favorite units of all time because of how they upgraded them. So I'm really hoping they did that here. That was a random tangent aside, but moving on. Footprint for 1 Forte, Tukuro Kiragaga. Grade 2 and 5 Kishio Tenke base. Okay, honest to God, I do think her hair is absolutely stunning, so I will give them that. Act Drop Zone. If your Vanguards are grade 3 or greater Forte, and you have no rear guards and card name as this unit, Energy Blast 3 calls card to rear guard circle. Opponent's Vanguards are grade 3 or greater, 5,000 power. Cool. Superior calls itself from drop once your Vanguards are grade 3 or greater Forte, and not to mention the fact that it can make itself a 50k. Pretty decent. Following that, auto left from a rear guard circle. Once per turn, when this unit attacks into anything, if your Vanguards are grade 3 or greater Forte, Soul Blast 1, reveal the trigger. She gets 10,000 power for the turn. So 20k swing for a simple Soul Blast, which is great, which this thing technically gets you inherently. So honestly, pretty good grade 2, and I'm going to give it the 4th because again, Superior calls itself, 20k swing, and you're most likely going to have a trigger in hand anyway, so there you go. And then we have Lonely because of Generosity? Question mark? Forte? Nanami Harumachi. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. Again, very beautiful hair. Continues rear guard circle. If your Vanguards are grade 3 or greater, this unit gets intercept. It can intercept from back row. And then auto rear guard once per turn. When this unit attacks, counter blast 1 or soul blast a trigger, draw a card, and this unit's feathers and power for the turn. So you either just CB anything or you just soul blast any trigger, and you get to draw a card and she'll be a 13k. Honestly, pretty solid grade 1. She gets you hand card, she gets you a 13k booster, and or not 13k booster, 13k attacker, and can literally be done with one of 2 costs, so it's a solid 3 over 4 in my opinion. Then we have Bud That Doesn't Bloom Forte, Tsukushi Fubata, grade 2 top A, grade 1 boost 5k shield, 8k base, auto and place on rear guard circle, CB1, choose a Morphonica from your drop zone, the different card name from her, put it to hand, and she gets 5,000 power for the turn. The PG they have is a Morphonica unit, isn't it? Because this is a crossover deck, which means that just is a free Morphonica to hand for simple CB1. And then auto back or rear guard circle once per turn when this unit attacks into a grade 3 or greater unit. If your other unit's power was increased by the effect of a trigger this turn, this unit gets 10,000 power for the turn. So essentially, all of your triggers you're never going to give to her unless like you really need the extra 10k to put it over the top and you already saw a second trigger. Because you say, for example, you only see one trigger in your draft, you see a crit, you can put all effects on the other rear guard because Tsukishi, while she's not going to get the extra crit, she's going to get the 10k the other unit got because another unit got a trigger boost. So honestly, good card for rushing 3 of because you don't want to rely 100% on it due to, you know, the reliance on seeing triggers, but still pretty good. Then we have Butterfly Dream Forte Ryo Yashuo, grade 2 and 5 Kishio, 10k base, auto plus on rear guard circle, Vanguards are grade 3 greater Forte, Energy Blast 3, search your deck for 1 Morphonica card, discard and shuffle your deck. I swear to God, if that PG is a Morphonica and there is no restrictions, this is the easiest way to loop a PG into drop zone. 1 second you hit grade 3, on place, Energy Blast 3, yeet the PG into drop zone, then play this, get that PG right back to hand. But ignoring that bullshit, auto right from a rear guard circle specifically once per turn. When this unit attacks, if your Vanguards are grade 3 or greater Forte and your opponent's Vanguard is also grade 3 or greater, and your drop zone also has one or more different music cards in it, most restrictions I've ever seen on a card, this unit is 5,000 power for the turn. And if your drop zone has 3 or more different musics in the card name, Soul Boss 1, it gets 10,000 instead. So getting a Forte Vanguard, not hard. Getting the opponent Vanguard a grade 3 or greater, not hard. Getting a music in the drop zone based off of what I've seen so far, not hard at all. It's just the fact that, you know, there's more steps than normal in D. Like, this is the first time in a while I've seen a card actually require 3 different steps to get an ability off in general. But A, being a 15k, possibly 20k swinger on its own is great. And again, the combo I talked about getting a PG to hand, pretty simple, because you can do that all on your first grade 3 turn for simple Energy Blast 3, Counter Blast 1, so 4 of. Only that we have conflicts hidden in each heart. Grade 3, Twin Drive, Persona at 13k base. This thing gives me the creeps because all of these things look like dolls, and for those of you that don't know, I have like that weird phobia of dolls, and I will kick all of these things in 5 seconds tops. Auto when placed on Vanguard, so placed by riding from a grade 2 Morphonica unit. Serve deck or drop zone or hand for up to 1 grade 2 less norm unit with a Forte's card name. Ride it as stand, so you ride down, and if you rode, you put this card to your order zone. If you search your deck, you shuffle it. You know what? That is the first time I've seen a mechanic like this, because I also thought this was supposed to be a set order, and I didn't read any of this card's abilities, and then I now realize that it actually becomes an order. So you know what? Pretty good, Bushy. Pretty good. You give up your grade 3 ride for whatever this is. And then continuous order zone, your Vanguard will lose all of its original abilities. It becomes a grade 3 with 13,000 power, 1 critical, and twin drive. During your turn, you cannot ride. And then auto order zone at the start of your ride phase, you need a hand card the same card name as this card from your hand to soul and activate Persona Ride. So, still 4 Persona Rides. And then auto order zone at the start of your main phase, search your deck for drop zone for 1 Morphonica music card and play it. If you search your deck, you shuffle it. That is pretty cool. And my only thing to this, because I mean that's great that you get to like sit on a grade 2. My only thing to this is I wish they got rid of this part, specifically the part where it says it becomes a grade 3. And the reason why I say that is because it kicks so many decks in the teeth. And I know that is the exact reason why they didn't, because some decks actually die to that because some of their skills do not go off unless the opponent's at grade 3. But in my opinion, it would be a really cool thing, but this is still cool that you get a grade 3 order from just normal writing. So it's a 4 of, in my opinion. Then we have Mugen Reverberate, grade 3, Bang Dream, Morphonica normal order music. Play this card for your Vanguard's footprint for 1 Forte to Kirikaga. Auto and placed on rearguard circle. Search your deck or drop zone for up to 1 distance of the imaginary ward Forte, Mashiro Kukata. Call to rearguard circle at the end of the turn. It gives boost 5,000 power, and if you search your deck, you shuffle it. At the end of your turn, retire that unit. Then auto rearguard when your Vanguard attacks. Count boss 1. Choose one of your Morphonica rearguards and stand it. And if your opponent's Vanguard's a grade 3 guard, then discard a Tokuro Kirikaga card name from your hand. Choose one of your Morphonica rearguard, stand it. It gets 2 more Vanguards, and then give it 10k and a crit for the turn. So what do you attack with the rear guards, extra pressure with the Vanguard, and get your rear guard call with a boost and an 18k booster, presumably, because I'm pretty sure the Dissonance of World is her. Yep, so honestly, pretty solid card. Gets you the pressure, like I said, gets the rear guard restand, and it gets an 18k booster. So, yeah, 4 of. Then we have Watashi Machika Sagashi. I feel like I just incriminated myself in Japanese. I don't know why. Morphonica, normal order. Play this card if you're Vanguard only because of Generosity Forte, Namama Hiromachi. Auto and put on rearguard circle. Okay, all of these have the exact same skill verbatim. So gets the grade 3 on rearguard with an 18k booster. And then auto rearguard when your Vanguard attacks CB1 and all of your rearguards without Namama Hiromachi and the card names contains rearguard circle. Your Vanguard gets the trigger effects that this unit gets. AKA, if you sack a crit and you put it on the rearguard circle, automatically that crit goes to that unit. Now, it would be really fun is if you could find a way to play Ultima with this, because Ultima gives the trigger to everyone, meaning if you flip a critical trigger, everyone gets a crit, and then all those additional, including the Vanguard, and then all those additional crits from the rear guard go into the Vanguard, meaning instead of just getting 10,000 power in one critical, or technically 20,000 power in one critical, next you know the back row center getting the critical trigger as well, the Vanguard gets a grand total of, I don't know, about 60,000 with God knows how many extra crits. Fun. And then continues rear guard, and then you can discard an Anami Hiramochi in the card name to check the top 4, choose 2 cards from among them, put it to your hand, and put the rest on top, bottom, and order. Okay, that is straight up Ultima skill, more or less, because it stacks the top 2 cards of your deck, and then it also gets you, quote-unquote, 2 to hand, but also 2 to board. So, cool. Clearly they were inspired by Ultima for this, so I'm just going to say a 4 and move on, because that's a fun card to abuse. Then we have Esrin on a Clover, Bang Dream, standard, superior call skill. This one has another effect embedded into it. Continuous rear card, or Morphonica rear guards get 5k. Automatically, that one's a winner because that's just a full board rush right there. And then auto rear guard when your Vanguard attacks, CB1, ditch a Toshika Fubata and the card name from your hand. Choose one card with the name of the card I just said from the drop zone, call it to rear guard circle, and that you can attack from backwards turn. So let me get this straight. Your Vanguard swings. You then CB1, ditch a card, immediately call that same card back, and give it back row attack on top of 5k because of this thing existing. It's not the most broken skill, but this instigates so much early game rush, followed by, this. So, yeah, maybe not the best, but definitely, in my opinion, still relatively good, so 2 of. Then we have Phrasing Mirage. God, I love that name, and of course, it's a part of the one that I dislike the most in terms of how they look. Standard superior call skill, then auto rearguard once per turn when your Vanguard attacks. If your drop zone is 1 more music with different card names, CB1, choose your Vanguards, and it gets 5,000 power for the turn. If your drop zone is 3 more music with different card names, at the end of that battle, ditch a Rui Yashiro from the hand, stand that unit, and it gets drive -1 for the turn. And then if your drop zone is 5 more different musics, all your Morphonica rearguards get 5,000 power. So it's an attempt to combine, this was the stand one, right? It's an attempt to combine this with this and turn it into this, which isn't bad, but Yeah, it's okay. It doesn't give power unless you have the 5 more different musics and drop, but I mean, it gets you an extra Vanguard attack, but in my opinion, it isn't the best out of all of them, so it's a 1 up to 2 of. Then we finally get to our normal cards. We have Immaculate Sacrament, grade 3, set orders, play, put to order zone. This could have been a Regalia's piece in my opinion, but I'll shut up. Auto order zone, when your unit is attacked, put this card to your drop zone, choose a unit being attacked, gets 10,000 power for the battle. The reason why I think it should have been a Regalia's piece is because just by the way it looks, it looks like the Fire Regalius, which could have been like every nation gets a version of the Fire Regalius. You know, Keter Sanctuary gets one, Stoicheia gets one, which I know wasn't technically the point of the story of Cross Epic, but you get my idea, and I feel like this was a wasted opportunity, but I take my decks and I leave with it. Then we have Cordial Knuckler, grade 3, 10% or 13k base, auto rearguard once per turn when your Vanguard, when it attacks to a Vanguard. If you paid energy buffs 4 more times this turn for the cost of a card's ability, it gets 10,000 power for the battle. Okay, pretty good. Originally, I randomly thought this was Rotovisor support, maybe because it's a boxer and there's such a thing as a boxing deck with Rotovisor. But I then, as I was reading this just now on video, remember that Astrum's a thing. And while that first Astrum string is not going to swing for that much, it'll only be like a 13k, maybe you boost it. Actually, you will boost it because it'll swing for like maybe 21, maybe 23. The second you stand it via Astrum, it gets 5k from Astrum. It'll then get 10k from its own skill, so 28, and you'll probably have at least 2 orders in your order zone, so this is a 38k swing without Persona Rights and or triggers and or boosters behind it. I don't need to tell you why this is a 4 of. Just do it. And then we have a Lady's Prerogative. Grade 3 set order, contains orders on all your token units, get intercept and 5,000 shield. This card, in my opinion, has the potential to either not do anything because it's giving token units intercept and 5k shield, or has the potential to be really broken because the days that tokens begin to take over the meta, they are going to have more defensive power addition to them. And this card immediately reminded me of Claudine, a deck that can consistently get a full board of tokens. And there's a very specific Roroa build that I remember having that could also get a board full of tokens on the board in about 5 seconds flat. So yeah, this has the potential to, again, either be one of the most busted cards in the world, because tokens could eventually break the game if they become meta, or it has the potential to do absolutely nothing except maybe give tokens a little bit more defensive power because they're not going to break the meta. It depends, and I'm very curious to see where that road goes. Either way, it's either 2 of or 4 of, depending on which path we go down. And now to our final reviews, we have our new Stoicheia our Battle Siren ride line. So we have Argo Siren Rotilis, grades will boost 5k shield, 6k base, on a road pound for second draw card. It's the standard starter, you just get a free draw if you go second. Then we have Argo Siren Irema, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, on when she's rode upon by, or when she's riding from the starter specifically named. Reveal a grade 3 card with Argo Siren as card name from your ride deck. To search your deck for up to 1 Titan card, reveal it, put it to your hand and shuffle your deck. Then auto backward rearguard circle once per turn when your unit is in column as it stands by a card ability. If your Vanguard's an Argon Cyro, stand itself by Soul Blasting 1. Honestly, pretty cool because the Vanguard has the ability to stand a rearguard, possibly 2 at the same time, and also gains the ability to stand itself, possibly with another Titan card. So basically, this thing can stand an entire column in one go, which is great, and it gets you a free Titan card search just by simply riding it, which is also cool because our first instance of our 1 of 2 Titan cards is a grade 1 set order. And again, I really love the fact that they're implementing more set orders and decks that aren't just Brancate. So the grade 1 set order is Cutthroat's Ode, grade 1 set order. As the order's played, it goes into order zone. It's a Titan card. Play it by Soul Blasting 1 if your Vanguard's an Argo Siren. Auto and put into your order zone. Check the top 7. Choose up to 1 unit card from among them. Reveal it. Put it to your hand if it's a Titan card, or call it to rearguard if it's a unit card with Argo Siren in the card name with a grade less than equal to your Vanguard. Shuffle the deck. So pretty much you are either going to get another order to hand, or you're going to get an Argo Siren to rearguard. The only downside is if you flip either a trigger that doesn't have the name, or a PG, or anything else of the sort, you're not going to get a free call. But pretty cool that it can get you a rearguard of any, no, not of any grade, of the Vanguard's grade, and it can also get you an order into hand, so pretty decent. And auto, when it's bound from order zone by the ability of your grade 3 grade of Vanguard Argo Siren in the card name, choose one of your rearguard, stand it. And this is how your units can stand by abilities, because you are binding the orders from the order zones in order to gain abilities either to Vanguard or just straight up stand units. So honestly, pretty cool for the order. My only downside is the fact that we are immediately seeing 2 cards of Soul Blast makes me worry for the deck's soul capabilities, but Stoicheia has a lot of soul chargers, so I'm going to go wrong with that. Then we have Argo Siren Rest Fee, grade 2 of 5k shield, 10k base, auto, when placed by riding from the grade 1, reveal again the copy of the grade 3 in the ride deck that has Argo Siren in the card name. Just search your deck for another Titan card, reveal it, put it to hand, shuffle your deck. Continuous rearguard if you're Argo Siren Vanguard, you get boost. All around,
pretty good because again it gets you a free order just by being rode upon. Sadly, again, that order is going to be the one that's soul blast most likely. But on the upside, she's always going to have boost regardless of what grade your Vanguard's at, meaning you can just line a bunch of these in the background on your grade 2 turn and then you got a full rush going for it. Honestly, I love the fact that Battle Sirens are getting support here because it means in the future we might get more ride lines that kind of support deck themes. For example, Blaze Maidens, or to be more exactly, Boss Saga with the new Bab Saga, there's a chance, loosely, that they could focus on an entirely new line of Blaze Maidens and focus on the name instead of just, focusing on arms, I think would be pretty cool, but it's nice that Battle Sirens, who have always, supported every Aquaforce deck, are now getting their own ride line. Moving on, we have Argo Siren Calliopeia, grade 3 Twin Drive, Persona at 13k base. God, I hope for some reason this thing appears in the anime because I really love how she looks. Continues Vanguard Circle during turn if your bind zone has one or more different Tiding cards in it. This unit gets 5,000 power. If it has 2 or more different Tiding cards in it, your entire front row gets 5k instead of just this unit. And then Act Vanguard once per turn, ditch a card, choose a Tiding card from your drop zone, put it to order zone. I'm really glad that this card can put stuff to order zone because I'm about to say there's 2 different Tiding cards and you're going to want to get as many of them as order zone as fast as possible. So being able just to get one free one into order zone is great because that means you can just set the other one, this one, into your order zone just because you want to, which is great as well. And there's no other cost to that outside of ditching a hand card, so it's just a 1-for-1. And then Auto Vanguard, once per turn, when this unit attacks into a Vanguard, by counterblasting 1, you choose a Tiding card from your order zone and bind it. And then for your opponent's Vanguards are grade 3 or greater, you can Energy Blast 3 to choose 2 Tiding instead of 1. So on your first grade 3 turn, if you're going first, you're getting 1 rearguard restand because you're binding this. And if your opponent's Vanguard is a grade 3 or greater, you get 2 rearguard restands, or you at least get 2 restands in general because you're giving your Vanguard the ability to restand. Speaking of which, Kaithos Orcos, grade 3 set order. After set order is played, put it to order zone. Play it by soul blasting 1 again if your Vanguard's an Argo Siren. Auto input onto order zone. Search deck for 1 Tear Dragon, call to rearguard circle, shuffle the deck. That is busted because granted, this deck only has 1 Tear Dragon so far, but any other Tear Dragon that they ever print that is remotely generic is now callable via this, and then auto input bound from order zone by the ability of your grade 3 or greater Vanguard Argo Sign on the card name. If your opponent's Vanguard is also grade 3 or greater, you choose one of your Vanguards and it gets auto Vanguard at the amount this unit attacked. If this unit did not stand by card ability this turn, stand and increase or decrease its drives to 1 for the turn until end of turn. All around, pretty solid because while yes, this thing's multi-attack ability is once per turn, and this thing's multi-attack ability is also once per turn, being able to get this into order zone once you get to grade 3 and have 2 free searches of at least one of these and probably one of these as well, you can play them into order zone, and again on your first grade 3 turn, get a total of 5 attacks guaranteed. 1 can be from the Vanguard, 1 can be from the rearguard, and it's energy blasting 3, and sometimes you might not end up binding 2 orders, so it's nice that a lot of your energies can sometimes, if you want to, go to other purposes like drawing, or you can use it for defensive skills such as the the generic cycler card. So honestly, pretty good order for the restand. Again, a little bit worried about the soul blasting, but I mean, hey, free Tear Dragon to board and Vanguard restand with a drive minus for literally no cost at all, so 4 of. That brings us to, thankfully, a card that goes to Soul, Argo Siren Melstone. Great on boost, 5k shield, 8k base, auto rear guard. At the end of battle, she boosted a Tear Dragon, shove her to Soul, choose her rings, get 5,000 power for the turn. I was worried when I first read her skill because I literally had to check back on the Japanese text to see if these guys were Tear Dragons. They're not, but this is a Tear Dragon and it's really good. But being able to go to Soul is great in a deck that has a bunch of Soul Blasters and at least give someone 5k, either the thing that it previously boosted or the Vanguard that's going to attack again, hopefully. So yeah, 4 of them alone. You kind of need her for Soul, but I mean, granted she has to boost a Tear Dragon, but again, this literally gets you a free search or a Tear Dragon, so not that bad. Then we have Boar Briny Dragon, grade 2 instead 5k shield, 10k base. This is our aforementioned Tear Dragon. Auto drop zone, when a Tiding card's put to your order zone, if you don't have a copy of this on rearguard circle, CB1 to call it to rearguard. So we only have 2 cards that cost CB so far, 3 if we count this down here, but being able to call itself is great. And then auto inputs on rearguard circle, yeet a Tiding card from bind zone to drop zone, give it 10,000 power. So it can be counterintuitive because Calliopeia only gets you 2 Tiding cards a turn, so there are chances that this might screw you over and make your units lose 5k, at least for the first 2 battles, depending on how your rear guards go. But on the bright side, it at least gives itself 10k, so more likely than not, it's going to swing first. This will be your restand target via Calliopeia, so you're not losing too much power out of it. And it does get you Tiding cards to drop zone, meaning you can play them next turn via Calliopeia's ability, because if you're constantly playing 2 orders a turn and binding 2 orders a turn, you're eventually going to run out of them, especially when you only have 8. So very solid 4 for Boar Briny. Then we have Argo Siren Sinnoh, Great on Boost, 5k shield, 8k base. Again, really love the artwork here. Auto placement on Rearguard Circle, Vanguards, and Argo Siren. CB1 to search your deck, drop zone for a Titan card, reveal it, put it to hand, and shuffle your deck if you searched it. So definitely a good way to deck then, and once you run out of orders, you can pick up the ones from drop zone, which is good as well. And then continues Rearguard if your opponent's Vanguard's all grade 3 or greater, and you have a Titan card that it put into your order zone this turn, gives it 5,000 power. So it all around works out really well because the order card does not have to be in the order zone, meaning if you had 2 cards in your order zone and you use Cassiopeia to eat them both into the buy-in zone, you don't have to worry about, having to get more orders into the order zone to get the 5k, because since something was probably played that turn, you have 13k base regardless. All around, pretty decent card for being a beat stick, pretty good booster all around, and it also gets you a free order by only C being 1, and it's not telling me that the last card in the deck should end up becoming Prize Trident, because more likely than not you're going to get 5 attacks, and I mean countercharging, so there's that. Then we have Stunning Wave Dragon, grade 3 to 9%, 13k base, another tier dragon. Auto placed on Rearguard Circle from deck of the hand. If your Vanguard's an Argo Siren, this unit gets 5,000 power for the turn. Then you can Energy Blast 3. Hey, look at where your extra energy is going. Or you can Counter Blast 1 to draw a card. Cool, pretty good. 18k base regardless, as long as it's placed from deck or hand, and possibly a free draw as well, which is good. And then auto rearguard once per turn when this unit attacks, so you may have this unit get another 5,000 power for the battle. If you do at the end of the turn, retire this unit. Cool. Opens up your board, and God forbid they ever actually do bring Chaos Breaker back into D, well, at least you're opening up your board so your opponent can't lock the front row too easily. All around, Stunning Wave Dragon's a very solid supporting grade 3. Does his job well because he can be placed from deck or hand to get the 5k. He can end up turning your excess energy into drawing, and not to mention the fact that he can be a 23k boost or 23k swinger for a turn. So honestly, amazing grade 3. I do love its skill, and I think it's going to work out pretty well so far. Without further ado, I'm going to want to hear hope all of you enjoyed. Honestly, this deck is very interesting. Again, I say I like the fact that we're getting like the Aqua Void Battle Siren units as like actual a mainline deck. And again, I really hope we see this in anime because I think it's very interesting, and I can't wait to see where it goes from here. So see you all in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join us on Twitch, and I'll see you all then. Don't forget to set up your Vanguards.